Hello everyone, I am Mahima Singh and today I am going to talk about the incredible and mighty civilization that developed around the valley of River Nile. For thousands of years, it stood as a powerful and prosperous civilization. But like all other great empires, it eventually faced challenges that led to its decline. You guessed it right. I'm talking about the ancient Egypt. Today, if you seek this civilization, all you will find is ruins. There is something so uniquely fascinating about the ancient Egyptians that has captivated the historians, archaeologists, and the general public from all across the globe for so many years. When I say Egypt, I am absolutely confident that most of you will envisage the Great Pyramid of Giza, the mysterious Sphinx, the strange form of writing called hieroglyphics, and of course the mummies. As I already told that the ancient Egypt was an enigmatic civilization developed around the valley of River Nile. The River Nile was not just a river or a geographical feature, but lifeblood of ancient Egyptians, and even today it continues to be so. The River Nile flows from south to north through eastern Africa and it begins in the river that flows into the Lake Victoria and empties into the Mediterranean Sea more than 6,600 kilometers north, making it one of the longest rivers in the world. The Nile helped in the origin and growth of Egyptian civilization. Although we all are aware of the fact that Egypt is a desert country with little rain, but the valley of Nile is very fertile because its annual floods, carefully monitored and anticipated, brought prosperity to the land by replenishing the soil with nutrient rich silt and which allowed the Egyptians to develop advanced agricultural techniques such as crop rotation, irrigation, and ensuring abundant harvest to sustain their growing population. Additionally, the Nile River also served as a vital transportation route facilitating trade and communication between different parts of Egypt. Undoubtedly, because of these reasons, Herodotus has called Egypt as the gift of Nile. Ancient Egypt was divided into two parts or regions, Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. The unification of Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt was done under the leadership of Pharaoh Menes in the early dynastic period, which led to the development of the great civilization. There are 30 dynasty of kings from the unification of Egypt by Pharaoh Menes to that of the conquest of Egypt by Alexander. Ancient Egypt can be divided into three historical periods: Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, and New Kingdom. Each period marked a strong leadership with stability and with a lot of achievements. The ruler or the king in the ancient Egypt was known as Pharaoh, who was not just a political leader but also a divine figure regarded as an intermediary between gods and people. As an absolute ruler of Egypt, he wielded immense power and authority over Egypt and its inhabitants. The concept of monarchy was embedded in divinity. The sacrosanct nature of monarchy symbolized both the king and his administration. The pharaoh controlled administration, judiciary, military, and religious institutions. The pharaohs were often depicted in art and inscriptions, capable of defeating the enemies, performing religious rituals, and ensuring prosperity and stability. Moving on towards the social condition of ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt was stratified with a hierarchical structure, reflecting individuals' roles, occupations, and status. At the top of the social pyramid was the pharaoh, believed to be a god on earth and the ultimate authority. Below the pharaoh were the nobility, including high-ranking officials, priests, and members of royal family. The scribes held a prestigious position below the nobility due to their literacy and administrative units. The peasants, craftsmen, and artisans constituted the middle class, while the slaves and servants occupied the lowest rung of society. Family was central to Egyptian society, providing support, stability, and continuity across generations. Egypt was not a matriarchal society, but that doesn't mean it was a patriarchal society. Women played significant roles as mothers, wives, and sometimes as rulers or priestess. They could own property, engage in trade, participate in religious rituals, In fact, sometimes, in fact, very often it seems that their freedom when compared to men were limited. But I find that women in ancient Egypt had a more active and important participation than in any other ancient societies of the world. Six female pharaohs ruled ancient Egypt, including Merenith, Neferusobek, Nefertiti, Hatshepsut, Tawas and Cleopatra. Marriage was highly valued in ancient Egypt. Women typically married at a very young age, although monogamy was the norm, but polygamy was also practiced among elites. Marriage contracts outlined the rights and responsibilities of both the spouses, allowing the women to initiate divorce, enter into contracts, represent themselves in courts, indicating a level of legal autonomy and justice. Religion was deeply ingrained in ancient Egypt and played a dominant role, leaving its imprints upon almost everything. God was perceived as an individual and often associated with some attributes or positions and was defined and characterized by nature and forms. The ancient Egyptians worshipped a vast pantheon of gods and goddesses, leading to a polytheistic society. They believed that these deities controlled the forces of nature and human activities. Religion provided a framework for understanding the world, maintaining order, and ensuring peace and prosperity. As I already told, that the pharaohs served as an intermediary between the gods and people, they were also responsible for maintaining cosmic balance. Temples were central to religious life, serving as homes for the statues of gods and religious sites for rituals and ceremonies. Priests played crucial roles in performing religious rites, interpreting omens, and offering sacrifices, etc. Ancient Egyptians pictured and visioned gods and goddesses as a variety of forms, and the most common variants of a single deity was of human combined with animal components, most often a human body with an animal head. The afterlife held immense importance, and the belief in afterlife that the soul would continue to exist even after death shaped funerary rituals and burial practices in ancient Egypt. The preservation of body through the process of mummification and the construction of elaborate tombs such as the Pyramid of Giza, the Valley of Kings, filled with treasures and provisions, ensured the deceased's successful journey to the afterlife. Now comes the most fascinating topic, the process of mummification. The process of mummification involved a complex series of steps, beginning with the removal of internal organs such as brain, liver, lungs, intestines, and then preserving those organs in canopic jars. The mummy was then desiccated using natron, a naturally occurring salt, before being wrapped up in the layers of linen bandages. Then it was adorned with amulets, funerary jewelries, and finally kept in a coffin or sarcophagus. The religious life of ancient Egypt went through many phases, from polytheism to monotheism by Akhenaten, one of the pharaohs of ancient Egypt, and again back to polytheism after Akhenaten's death. The religion he introduced was Atonism, which was Egypt's state religion for around 20 years. The Book of the Dead, one of the most important manuscripts written in ancient Egypt, consisted a collection of spells and prayers that ancient Egyptians often studied to obtain life after death. In essence, the social and religious life of ancient Egyptians were multifaceted, reflecting a journey and interplay of their spiritual beliefs that shaped their every aspect of existence. The relationship between God and common people was of interdependence, where gratitude and piety coexisted, and the common people served God by honoring them in their festivals. Egyptian civilization, renowned for its marvelous architectural achievements, including the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Sphinx, the Temple of Luxor, and the Karnak Temple, the King's Valley. These colossal structures served as multiple purposes, functioning as religious centers, royal tombs, administrative complexes. What makes me more awestruck about these architectural monuments of Egyptian civilization is that the precision and craftsmanship displayed in their construction reflects the advanced engineering skills and organizational capabilities of ancient Egyptians at that time. Ancient Egypt civilization was one of the longest and oldest ruling empires in history, spanning over 3,000 years. During that time, the empire rose and declined as power shifted from one dynasty to the next, along with occasional invasions from neighboring empires. However, history shows us that even the mightiest empire eventually fall, and that happened with Egypt too. Beginning around 1100 BCE, the Egyptian empire fell into decline. There are several reasons behind this, including a series of harvest failures, disastrous floods, earthquakes, disruption of trade routes, and destruction of crop marriages. Additionally, the cultural and religious changes occur with the rise of Christianity and the eventual advent and spread of Islam in ancient Egypt. The climate became erratic and unstable, and it experienced 100 years of dry spell, and water became scarce. Political and economic unrest also led to the weakening of ancient Egypt. Despite its decline, its legacy is imprinted on the pages of history. The architectural marvels, such as the pyramids, tombs, continue to awe and inspire people worldwide. As we reflect back on the rise, decline, and the legacy of ancient Egypt, we recognize its profound impact on the world, leaving an indelible mark to delve into its mysteries and to learn from its accomplishments. That was all about the ancient Egypt. I hope you all liked it. I don't know